This is a free video from adulthomestudy.com. We're going to talk about math definitions a little bit, simplifying fractions, and beginning fractions, adding and subtracting fractions with the same denominator. Let's start out with what is a factor. Let's take 3 times 5 equals 15. 3 and 5 are factors of 15. 15 is the multiple of 3 and 5. So 3 and 5, 15 is a multiple, 3 and 5 is a factor. They're factors. You can have multiples of 3. So multiples of 3 would be like, okay, say 1 times 3 equals 3, 2 times 3 equals 6, 3 times 3 equals 9. These are all multiples of 3. These would be the factors of this multiple. Does that make sense? You know, mathematicians, they just love to give everything names, instead of saying, well, this is the answer part. I don't know, it just gets complicated sometimes. 3 and 5 are the factors of 15. 15 is a multiple of 5. It is also a multiple of 3. How about product? Product is the answer in a multiplication problem. So the product of 3 and 5, just like saying the answer of 3 times 5 is 15. So 15 is a multiple of 5. 15 is a multiple of 3. It's also the product of 3 times 5. Are we good to go? Great. Okay, so let's just check this out just a little bit more. How about 2 times 8 equals 16? The 2 is a factor. 8 is a factor. 16 is a multiple of 8 and a multiple of 2. It is also the product of 2 times 8. How about 4 times 4 equals 16? Well, 4s right here are factors of 16. And factors always mean, things that are multiplied. So 4 is a factor. 16 is a multiple of 4. 16 is also the product of 4 times 4. So let's go on now to figure out what is a numerator and what is a denominator. Okay, it may seem silly to go over these, so much, the definitions, but you have to get used to them just like everyday words, because otherwise it starts to get really confusing because you're using, okay, find the factor here, find the numerator, denominator. And so you really need to concentrate on these definitions and know them really well if you're going to go further and go into fractions and, do your GED or whatever you're doing with this. So the numerator is the top number in a fraction, and the denominator is the bottom number in a fraction. And this right here, which is something I didn't know for the longest time, is a division sign. So if you were to write 3/4 as a division problem, this is how it would look. 3 divided by 4 equals. And of course, that's later on how we're going to find out about percents and everything else. Now, let's try looking at a pizza. And let's draw ourselves a pizza real quick so we can get a grip on visualizing all this stuff. And that is key, the visualization. Because once we get into bigger numbers, then, we're going to need to really be able to visualize what we're doing. So even though this is simplistic now, later on, it's really going to prove to be a great thing. Well, let's see. I wanted a filled pizza. So here we go. Well, that's not filled. So let's try to get it filled here. Make a bigger pizza. There we go. Got it. All right. Let's take this and split it up into quarters. Quarter, quarter, quarter. Okay, I'm going to try not to sing too much while I'm doing this. So we have a quarter here, quarter here, quarter here. What would be a good representation if I were to ask you to write out a fraction that would be a representation of this pizza? What would that be? Okay, the denominator is the bottom number. The denominator means how many pieces the pizza is cut into. So it's cut into 1, 2, 3, 4. So we put a 4 in the bottom. How many pieces do you see on the table in front of you? You see 4. Now, if we eat one, we'll see 3, so we'll put a 3 on there. But right now, 4/4. When the numerator, which is the top number, and the denominator are the same, it always equals 1. So 97 over 97, what does it equal? You got it, 1. 1,976 over 1,976 always equals 1. Very important thing to remember because it'll just help you out later on. Now, what happens if we decide, we're hungry, which I am very hungry, and we want to eat a piece of pizza here? So what we're going to do is eat this piece. And we've got this pizza with one piece gone. Now, how do we write this in a fraction? You got it already. We take the pizza and say, okay, how many pieces is it cut into? 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 4 goes on the bottom. How many pieces do you see in front of you? 3/4. So we can write it that way. Or we could ask a different question and we could say to you, how many pieces did you eat? Well, the pizza's cut into 4 pieces, so we put the 4 in the bottom. How many pieces did we eat? 1. So we ate 1/4. Great. So now you understand numerators and denominators, and we can move on to adding fractions with the same denominator.